Hi everybody, it's Ryan here, and today I got the Coach glasses and I'm going to be talking to you a movie review today, Mr. Nobody. Who is this Mr. Nobody guy, right? Mr. Nobody is this movie we watched, me and my wife watched, and it's a long movie. It's a bit polarizing, and what I mean by that, it's just weird as fuck. It's weird. It's very weird. And if you're into weird shit, you might like it. It's a little long, but I did this experiment. Let me do a little side note. I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about why this movie's weird and why it's cool. But before I get to that, let me tell you about how I came across it. I did this exercise in this book. It was called Storytelling. I think it's called Storytelling. I forget the name of the book, but it's something about it was about storytelling. And what happened was he recommended you watch 10 minutes of a movie, and you write down 10 reasons why. Or you write down a few reasons why, how many times they make you like the main character. Because that's why you want to follow stories. Because when you hear a story or you watch a movie, they're going to give you all these points in which of why you should care about this person. Right? So I was doing this for like 10 movies, 10 minutes. And it was kind of interesting because I wanted to watch every single movie on Muse. Some more than others, which is what makes it really interesting. And it was sort of like if you have ADHD in a way like I do, or how I feel like I do anyway, self-diagnosed of course, is you kind of want to like, where was I going? I lost my train of thought. You're trying to find a way to like this person, right? You're trying to find out why you like this person. And anyways, I watched this 10 minutes of this movie, Mr. Nobody. I found out about it, and I wanted to watch it later. So I watched it later, actually a couple months later with my wife. But the thing about that movie is that it's what the concept is. Hopefully I won't spoil too much for you. Well, the concept of the movie, right, is it makes you, it's sort of like, what if you made a different decision in your life? What if you chose a different path? You know, what if in the story he has to choose? Spoiler alert! If you care about watching a weird movie, I just end this video now. I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, so spoiler. In the movie, he has his mom, the main character's mom and dad, divorce, and he has to decide between his mom and his dad, right? And there's this scene where it's sort of dramatic. If he has to decide, he goes with his mom, and it's a whole different life of what happens when he goes with his mom. But it's almost like he chooses to sow both at the same time. He chooses to live with his dad, and he has a whole different life with his dad, right? And there's this one scene that I love so much, I'm going to tell you about because it has such a profound effect on my thinking of things. I think this is the one where he goes with his mom, and he finds himself at the beach, and this girl comes up to him. They're sitting on the beach and says, "Why don't you come swim with us?" And he goes, "I don't like your friends. Your friends are idiots." And then she goes, "You're a jerk," and then she leaves. And then he replaces the thought in his head, and he goes, "Why did I say that?" So what he does is he makes a choice and changes. I don't know if you've ever played Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, where you can go reverse in time. It was Xbox. It's the first Xbox. Hell old. But that's kind of what happens. Like, what if he went both? What if he decided to say something different, right? And he did. He chose to say something different, and he ends up getting the girl, right? He gets the girl. And the funny part about the whole movie is that he gets all these girls. There's 3 girls. And it's like, what if he went with this girl? What if he went with this girl? What if he went with this girl? Right? And what kids you would have, what life would you have, what job you would have. It's very fascinating how that, I mean, your decision, it's almost like the whole movie's concept is sort of like you become this, what if you can choose all the choices you wanted and see them all the way through? Right? What if I took this job instead of this job? But what if you took both and you saw it all the way through the end? That's kind of the concept of the movie in a freaking weird ass way. But going back to that scene and why that scene was so important, my favorite scene in that movie was because when he replays back and he gets the girl, he makes his choice. And the choice he makes is This is the choice he makes. The choice he makes is he changes his choice and says, I can't go swimming because I can't swim. It's embarrassing. Please don't tell anybody. And in that moment, what makes that so powerful is that immediately, in that moment, he becomes vulnerable. And he's scared and he's embarrassed of what this other girl, his teenagers, might think of him. And then she goes, oh, kind of taken aback. Because when you share something vulnerable about yourself with another person, it bonds you to them. If you watch some of my videos, I may have shared some very personal things with you. I make a lot of videos, but a lot of them, they don't get 100 views. You know, but for those that probably watch some of those videos where I revealed something very personal, you probably felt more connected to me for that reason, right? And it's the irony of it is that we're afraid to share ourselves, but the reason why we when we make ourselves more vulnerable, we actually get people to like us more. When we share more about ourselves, it makes us think that they're going to hate us more, dislike us more. So he says, I can't swim, don't tell anybody. And then she says, oh. And she kind of gets closer to him. But then another friend of hers comes up to her and is like, hey, let's go swimming. And then she stands up, pulls her up, and then the girl says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on my period. Right, so she lies. Right? So she lies for this other guy, sits down and just sits with him. Right? And in that moment, they become bonded. And oh my God, it's so true. When you share something personal about yourself with somebody else, you bond yourself. When you reveal yourself, the problem is it's scary, right? And the truth is, sometimes when you do this, you're gonna have people not like you, right? Like, I'm gonna share something about you that's kind of vulnerable, but because this is like 7 minutes into a video that most people aren't gonna watch anyway, I'm not too worried about it, you know. However, the thing is that it's actually about Hitler, and we're watching this movie. I guess I'll put some context into it. There's this movie about Hitler, or about it's called The Man in the High Castle. What if the Germans won the war, right? And if the Germans won the war, you know, Japanese would have won the war. What would have happened? And I found this thing that Hitler wrote, right? And I wanted to share it on social media and like the copywriting group I'm in, you know, about persuasion. And man, it is. I mean, it's good stuff in there, right? But if I share that, people are gonna think I'm like a freaking Nazi or something, you know, or I'm like a racist, you know, and I'm not. But the problem is not. It's such a polarizing thing. You know, let's take it back to the swimming. For some people, especially people who've swum their whole life, anyone who can't swim, it's almost like that's ridiculous. How can you not swim? To some people, not to me, but to some people, if you can't swim, it's like you're a failure in life. Like, and even to some guys, right? Like, especially in the macho masculinity of things. You know, if you can't change a tire, if you can't change your oil, if you can't like cut wood or start a fire, you're like not a man, right? And that's because that's old school, right? That's when the old people making fun of old people now. And that's like kind of a psychology that we get stuck in thinking, and it's hard to think out of it, right? Like, it's gonna happen to me when I get older, or I'm older now, and my kids get older, right? Like, actually, it is. Like, there's this thing called the dab. Have you heard of it? The dab, you know, like this. It's kind of stupid, but like, there's gonna be a lot more of those as my son and my kids get older, of stuff that just seems so dumb. You know, and I'm gonna think my kids are so soft. When in reality, the generation before me is gonna think I'm soft, right? And the generation before them is gonna think that they're soft. Anyways, crazy tangent. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys all on the next video.